Happy Friday. Welcome everyone to a special edition of #AskRobCo. We are doing today a 1-hour HR and career special, and we have an amazing panel today. I'm super excited to have Katie Hopkins from Macdonold and Company. We have Chris Porteus from the MD Group. Hey, Chris. And we have Iram from Westminster University Career Specialist. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being on this panel. Really excited. Just got such good positive vibes from Iram, Chris, and Katie, and their organizations and who they represent. I'm going to give a little bit of an intro about me, the platform, what we're going to do today, and then I'm going to let each one of those review a bit of this. So this is the platform for you, weekly webinar, #AskRobCo. You give me the questions, we today give you the answers. It's all about you. It's your lives, your careers, your journeys, and we're just here to help, give, and add some positivity into the professional world. For all of those who haven't been on the show, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Huge audience today. Hundreds and hundreds of you registered. Thank you, Tim. Welcome, Stephen, Tarek. Welcome back, Sammy, regular guest on the show. Also, a question of the week winner. Got Lee and Lee, a few of you, Lewis, Liam, Adam. Thank you for coming. Andy, Chris, Bahar, Dan, David. Diva, welcome back. Question of the week winner last week. Dorota, thanks for joining. Emily, Everta, Fergal, thank you so much. I've got Jack, I've got Hend, I've got Jamish, Jess back in the building. Thank you so much for joining. Jordan's back. Mark, welcome. Mehul, welcome back. Martin, thanks for joining. Michael, thanks for joining. Thanks for your question as well. Michael, Nasir, Natalia, Nick, Nikita, Parish, welcome back. Penny, previous winner of question of the week, welcome back, Penny. So happy you're here joining, such great input from you. Rajan, Reza, welcome. Thank you for your question, Reza, as well. Seren, thank you for joining. Rogan, thank you for joining. Sam, thank you for joining. Keep coming through. Thank you, everyone. If I haven't mentioned your name, I'm so sorry. It's just that there's too many of you. Okay, so put your questions on the right-hand side. You ask the questions. The panel will give you the answers. So that's the format of the show. You've also got some handouts. So you'll see on the right-hand side, vibe of the week. I will go through the vibe of the week later in the show. And generally, it's something good, whether it's about giving or empathy or a life issue or problem. Vibe of the week is just positivity through and through. And before we do the intros, I'm just going to give you a bit of background for all the new people that are joining. So basically, Rob Cohen, that's me. I'm in my 27th year professional in the industry of property, but more about life and experience. And my journey is that I am a third generation immigrant from an immigrant family. At a very young age, my parents would have made me go out and wash cars and do paper rounds and cut gardens. From the age of 11, I went to a school in Camden in central London, which in the 80s was an inner city slum where we would have been bullied, mugged, robbed, chased, bricks and bottles would have been thrown into our playground every day. I call that the school of life. From the age of 11, I learned very quickly that we faced lots of challenges in life, lots of social issues in life, and the quicker you understand how to face those challenges and how to live with them, the better you're going to be able to deal with them and manage them. My professional journey began when I decided to leave school, and that was in the summer of my A-levels. I was doing work experience in a property company. I loved it so much. I went home and I said, Mum, I'm not going to finish my education. And as you can imagine, she wasn't happy. I then started working in the industry. I absolutely loved the environment, property, absolutely loved it. Begged Westminster University to give me the opportunity to do a degree there, hence my love for the University of Westminster, and thank you all of those from Westminster who have joined today. I'm personally indebted to that university. They gave me a platform, they gave me an opportunity, they gave me a degree that allowed me to develop my career, and I'm really grateful to them for that. I then got very lucky, completed my building surveying degree, got very lucky to get a job at CBRE. They're one of the largest real estate companies in the world. I literally begged them to let me work for them, literally said, let me work for free. I'll do anything to work for you. And I was very lucky to get an opportunity to work there. I qualified as a chartered surveyor, and to bring everything up to today, set up MJ Group, and 14 years later, here I am on the hashtag AskRobCo platform. And really this platform is all about you. It's all about giving back to young professionals, students, graduates, postgraduates, early bird careers, later bird careers, equal opportunities, completely open to every shape, size, background, country, location. All I want to do is give back. And our panel today are really individuals that I resonate with a lot. As I said, Iram comes from Westminster University. She is the career specialist there, and I'm going to be working very closely with the universities up and down the UK to try and help business, entrepreneurship, and motivate and educate and inspire the next generation of professionals across the country. Then we've got Chris, and Chris represents an independent company that sources human resource and careers in property specific, so surveying and the built environment. And he's grown a really good independent practice. And again, I'm super grateful to Chris and MD Group, because they've helped source up to maybe 50% of the team at MJ Group. And if it wasn't for Chris and his amazing work, we wouldn't have the business we have today. And his recruitment style and his understanding of what we're looking for has been amazing on our journey, and he's played a really special role. And Katie, representing one of the major recruiters in the UK, especially in the built environment and property, she's got a really positive and good energy about her. I've only just started working with her, so she's new to my world, but she's just got such a good positive energy about her. And I think any of you that are going to reach out to her following this will get a really good person that's going to help you on your journey. And hopefully, as the years go by, I get the opportunity to work with Katie a lot more. And on that note, I'm going to let everyone do their intro, and I think we'll start with Katie, and let's Katie speak to the hashtag AskRobCo world. Welcome, Katie.
I'm just going to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, and thanks for such a kind intro. Am I still muted, or am I okay? Can you hear me fine? Okay, brilliant. Yeah, thanks for such a lovely intro. As Rob's mentioned, I work for Macdonold and Company, who are, I would say, career advisors as well as recruiters in the built environment. We cover all areas of real estate, whether if you think of the REBA stages, through from investment and acquisition through to the actual development, the delivery, and the actual disposal, so sales and marketing side of it as well. And I think in terms of really, you know, the work I've done with Rob so far, the situation we're in at the moment with obviously coronavirus and the impacts that's had on the jobs market, I just wanted to join today to try and give a little bit of insight into how I think this is actually a really an opportune time for lots of people to make the most of themselves, and how really anybody that's listening or whatever questions come our way, really just how to make the most of the time. Try not to see it as a time that's difficult, because I think actually when we reach these challenging markets, it is actually a really good time in a sort of non-cringeworthy way to grow. And I think, you know, you can really connect with people and use the time to your advantage. And really just wanted to provide some reassurance in the fact that I have never been busier. I'm dealing with clients left, right and centre who do have funding, who are still building, and I just wanted to give some confidence really in the market that we've all chosen to have a career in, because there's still a lot going on. So that's me really.
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much. Let's move to Chris.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Excellent. Yeah, I'm Chris Porteus. I run the MD group, and I've partnered with Rob now for the past, well, it's nearly 5 years, supplying staff. My background in recruitment started out in construction and property. Then I diversified into the built environment, property and surveying. So we work with everyone from entry level, graduates, accomplished surveyors, senior surveyors, in the residential and commercial valuations surveying arena across the whole UK. I'll echo what Kate just said. It is a really busy time in the market at the moment. Admittedly, there are clients that are stalling on recruitment, stalling on funding, but there are so many entrepreneurial companies that want to hire now. It's not necessarily about hiring the right person, it's the right skill set. They can train you. So there's a lot of opportunity in the market at the moment. The market speaks volumes with the amount of candidates there are available, but the job flow is building daily. We're inundated with roles at the moment, to the point where this week I've actually set up a second business to look after the contracting side of the surveying world. So we are getting busier and busier. My role as part of the team on this webinar is to help anyone that wants advice to find employment, whether it's careers, guidance, if you need help with your CV, how to apply for a job, how to conduct yourself at an interview. Any questions you've got, throw them our way and we will do the best we can to answer them. And that's me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Chris. Please do send your questions in. You've got the tab on the right-hand side. You've got the most amazing panel that you're going to get. And these individuals that are not only representing incredible organizations, but they're good human beings. And that's why they're here. And they genuinely care about you and your lives and your careers and your journeys. And this platform and today's 1 hour special is for you to get an opportunity to ask a direct question to these 3 specialists and get maybe that piece of career or life or practical business advice that maybe changes your life. And in 5, 10, 20, 50 years, you'll come back to today's show and say, Rob, Chris, Iram, Katie shared something with me or gave me an insight that changed my world. And if we are able to achieve that for one individual on this show, that would mean the world to us. And really, that's what we're here for. So we did have some technical problems, but thankfully, Iram is with us now, and I'm going to give her the platform and the show to give us an intro. Iram represents the career advice at Westminster University. Westminster super close to my heart, where I graduated. They put me on my journey, and I think I'm hopefully a really positive representation of what can come out of the School of Built Environment at Westminster. So all yours, Iram.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. And you are indeed. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Iram. I'm a careers consultant at the University of Westminster, as Rob said. I'm here today to hopefully also answer questions and engage in some interesting discussions with you all around careers in the current climate and how to sort of stay positive. In my role, I see students and graduates and provide information, advice, guidance, lots of support for students and graduates transitioning from academic life into the world of work. And that involves looking at career choices, identifying career goals, job seeking strategies, right the way through sort of preparing CVs, applications, interviews, all of the different components that are required in finding the right job and building a successful career. I see a lot of students and graduates from all different courses. The university is very large and diverse, hundreds of courses, thousands of students. So I'll see people from property construction, architecture, right the way through to law, biomedical sciences, media, fashion, you name it, we've got it at Westminster. So I see a lot of students and lots of different queries coming in, especially right now, in light of the current sort of situation. Queries, people have had their work internships or graduate employment offers declined or withdrawn. Some people are waiting. There's things on hold. There are things being delayed, people are being furloughed. So I've had lots of different queries from different people at different stages of their careers. So hopefully here today just to kind of help instill that positivity and provide some advice, help, guidance, support, signpost to resources and things. And really I wanted to bring to the table more about what people could be doing right now to sort of stay positive and to think about how they can kind of advance their careers, advance their skills, learning, development. So I was going to kind of focus more on the things that you could be doing right now: virtual work internship programs, networking, use of LinkedIn, personal branding, perfecting CVs, podcasts, industry information, lots of different things, and lots of free development courses and skills courses that universities and different platforms are offering. So I wanted to just make sure that people are aware of those. And coming on to that last thing, really, the importance of networking and using LinkedIn right now. This is actually proof, this webinar. So Rob and I linked on LinkedIn. We connected on LinkedIn rather just 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we spoke at length about what we do and the fact that our objectives are the same in terms of helping students progress and advance their careers. And that's why, and that's a result of me being here today. So it's kind of proof of how important it is to use social media and LinkedIn especially to build your network and reach out to the right people, especially in this moment. So that's kind of what I wanted to bring. So yeah, thank you, Rob, for inviting me today.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you for the panel. Loads and loads of questions are coming through, and I really appreciate that. We're going to jump onto them any moment now. Just to give you some background further, as you heard of my mini story and my journey, and close your ears, Iram, but I was a terrible student, like a really, really, really bad student, and I didn't finish my A-levels because I wanted to work. I really struggled to get through my degree, even though it was an amazing degree. And practically speaking, what I learned on my building surveying degree, if I really understood how great it was and how brilliant the course was and the lecturers were, I might have worked a little bit harder. But I was very lucky to even get through my degree. And I really want everyone listening to understand that, yes, it's really important to have a good CV, a good education and a good path. And I think maybe Chris and Katie and Iram can maybe give us a view on that in a second when I finish this. But it's also important for everyone to understand that to be a D or an E or an F student like me, and to barely or not do your A-levels and to barely get through your degree and only be lucky enough to get to do a university degree at Westminster, because I think when I did my interview, they felt sorry for me. And then to work in the largest property or real estate company in the world and then to be so lucky to get the opportunity to set up my business, and then to maybe help Chris on his journey and help him set up his business, and then to go full circle and just be lucky now to be working with Iram and hopefully give back to the university and to maybe the people that are coming through from Katie. It's like, you don't need to be the best of the best or the smartest person or to be an A-grade student and to get your first and to go to Oxbridge. And like, anyone who's listening to this and thinks that that's the only way to achieve something in life, that's just not the case. And I really believe that coming from what I would say is a low social background, to be the first person in my family to even get a degree, to have to work extremely hard with side hustle jobs just to get through my younger stages of life, to get a weak degree, as in to just about get it, and then to be able to get the opportunity to have the career that I'm going through now. I just need everyone listening to understand that the world will give you the opportunity to do what you want to do if you have the hunger, the motivation, and the desire. And then there's people like Iram and Chris and Katie that will see that you've got something special about you and see that you've got this hunger and this burning desire to go somewhere, and they will make sure that you get the opportunity to be sitting in front of me or the equivalent in any organization that there is out there. And so just always believe in yourself and understand that there's no, you don't have to be on this incredible special A-grade or A-star or first journey. It's not what the 99.9% live, and it's not the practical one either. So just be aware of that. Don't know if you want to add anything on that, Iram?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something that we're always, driving to the students in terms of making sure that they're upskilling all the time, that they've got that passion and hunger and drive, that employers are kind of looking for all of that. The job, you can learn on the job, training can be provided, but as long as you've got that passion and you're doing whatever you can to kind of reach out and make the most of those opportunities, that's what matters. And yeah, the university is very supportive, very diverse community, a lot of kind of BAME students, a lot of international students, very diverse, very large, and that's the message, is to just reach your potential and make the most of opportunities, and as long as you've got that hunger and drive. So I completely second that.
Brilliant. Katie, you want to add something on that? Unmute.
Say she's got unmute.
Katie, if you just want to unmute. No. Still nothing from Katie. Let's come back to Katie. Chris?
Yeah, I think in terms of landscape of where we are in the industry at the moment, it's about being proactive instead of reactive. And anyone with a positive mentality that is potentially looking for a career should look and think outside the box. Your dream goal, your dream company may not be there right now, but you need to look at the stepping stone to get there. It may take you a couple of steps to get there, but you will get there with the positive mentality. So don't beat yourself up if the right company, the right role's not there now. That door's shut. You'll be there in 2 years knocking that door down because you've got the relevant experience. So graft away and look at the right fit for you.
Brilliant. Let's see if we can get a bit of advice from Katie. You were on mute last time. Let's see if it's functioning now. Katie? Still mute. All right, we will work that one out and we will come back to Katie in a moment. All right, I'm going to go to the questions. Thanks for that advice. Loads and loads of questions and loads of great ones. We're going to start with Mark McGrath. Thank you for the question. And just so everyone knows, by the way, question of the week, we'll get a post on LinkedIn and we'll do some creative and make it look special. And also this week, question of the week, there is a prize. The best question will win a one-to-one mentor session with me. And so whoever gets that will get the opportunity. Maybe we'll get a sandwich or breakfast or a coffee or whatever we can rustle up here at MG Group HQ, and we'll have a nice 1 hour one-to-one mentor chat talk live session. So question of the week, that is the prize for today. All right, so Mark, my wife and I are planning on moving to the UAE next year. We are yet to find employment, only just started, graduating as a residential building surveyor through MRICS, and my wife works in nursing, 5 years plus experience, property and sales. Do you have any advice where to look, and should I structure my CV, LinkedIn, etc. to get good employee? Okay, so Mark, great for you to move to another country, UAE. There is always lots of opportunity with the major firms, CBRE, Knight Frank, Cushman, Jones Lang, and numerous others. I definitely recommend you reach out to all of them, and it's a numbers game. So you've got to go through LinkedIn, go through Katie, get some advice, and I think Katie and Chris will jump on that now. You must put yourself out there. You must provide yourself with the best opportunity. When I went and lived abroad, I was in exactly the same position as you. I graduated or graduating from my degree at Westminster Building Surveying. I hadn't qualified. I begged everyone for the opportunity of working as a grad or as an intern or anything actually was going. And I messaged and called and messaged and called and messaged and called, and great. And in the end, luckily, I got 2 or 3 opportunities to interview, and then I got my job. But Mark, you just got to put yourself out there. Definitely go through an international recruiter, and also definitely take advantage, like Katie said before, take advantage of LinkedIn. It's such an amazing opportunity, and you just got to put yourself out there. Katie, you want to add anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you know, it's not just about your
no. Take the headphones out. Okay, they're out. All right, we're going to come back to Katie. We're going to come back to you, Katie. Unfortunately, a bad connection there.
I thought I had unmuted.
No, not happening, Katie. Chris, do you want to give any bit of advice on the CV and putting yourself out there?
To be able.
Sorry, forgot to hit the unmute button there. The best piece of advice I would give someone is to be proactive. If you're going to work with a recruiter that has assisted people in moving to another country. There's a lot of recruiters out there that say they specialize in worldwide recruitment when they don't. You need a specialist that operates in the UAE. And like Rob said, it's all about the application process. Apply to everyone directly, send your CV, follow up with a telephone call, follow up with an email, a LinkedIn message. Be proactive, show a willingness. You're moving to another country. Show the hunger and desire to want to work for an established employer. in that country, and it would do you the world of good.
Brilliant. Iram, you want to add anything?
Yeah, similarly, just as Chris said, being proactive and definitely making use of LinkedIn, reaching out to people, speaking to them, and just yeah, trying to set up some meetings, and yeah, agree completely with what Chris said there.
Brilliant. Next question is from Rajan. Being a recent computer science graduate, what advice would you give for applying for graduate roles and how to stand out for candidates? So, Rajan, the same as we just asked with the last question. You've got to be proactive. You've got to show that you're hungry, you're motivated, and you want to achieve. You've got to be positive. Positivity is everything at the moment. I don't know if any of you saw the LinkedIn post going around the other day, but it was about a new job application, and it was literally negative. If you're negative, don't apply. And you've got to be positive. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to come across with good energy, good vibes, and send the message across, both in written terms, in your document, in your CV, but also when you speak with a positive energy, with a good hunger and desire. That always puts any candidate in a great position. Now, if you come through computer science, tech, data, in all industries is the next 10 years and the way forward, and the opportunity of what 2020 to 2030 looks like. So understand that you're adding value, your specialism or something that you're passionate about. I mean, it just goes to vibe of the week. If you want to open out the handout, which is number 6? I can't remember the number. If you open out the handout, it's really down to this. It's vibe of the week. You need to be excited about what you're going to do, have a purpose, do something you love, something you can develop and grow into in your career that's meaningful, and your life experience, loving the process, and the rest will always happen for you. That's the vibe of the week. And anyone that's interviewing for a job or doing their CV, whether it's Mark or Rajan, love what you're doing, put yourself forward. I love data science, I love tech, I love properties. I've been doing property all of my life. I've been doing tech all of my life. It's my passion. I'd love the opportunity to show that I'd be a great asset to your business, and working in my passion and doing something that I love would be a pleasure and a joy, which is why in my journey, I would have worked for CBRE for free. Why? Because I love the industry. I love what I do. I want the opportunity to prove myself. And I wake up every day with a great energy and a great drive because I love what I do. And really that is the be all and end all. And if you can bring that across in your CV and bring that across in your interviews, you're going to have a really great opportunity wherever you go. Next one from Nick. I'm a newly qualified ASKROBCO. I've not written a CV for a long time, many years. Any pointers? Everything I've just said. You've got experience on your side, Nick. Experience is invaluable when you've got it, and when you don't have it, you want to be given the opportunity to gain experience and show how great you are. So it works both ways. So when you've got it, share it, put it forward. You can't hide from it, Nick. It's your biggest asset. When you haven't got it, you want the opportunity to have it and bring it forward. So you don't lose without experience, and you definitely can win a lot with experience, Nick. Next question from Nasir. I'm going to fly through a few and then bring in the panel. Thanks for arranging the webinar. I'm a Sava student, and I want to ask if it's better to get employment or go independent route. Okay, so that's a really good question, Nasir. I've done both, so you can definitely win with both. Having experience and learning is great before you go on your own journey, just because you want to see what the best in the world has to offer and what your benchmark should be and where you can aspire to go to. I wanted to work at CBRE because they were the best in the world within the industry, and I wanted to know what the best looks like. So if one day I did do my own thing, I knew what the benchmark was, I knew what had to be achieved. So there is never a right or wrong in answering that question. So if you feel that now is the moment for you, Nasir, and you're ready and you can prove to the world you've got what it takes, great, go for it. If, like me, you felt you needed a bit more education from one of the leading players within your space, then go down that path. So there's never a right or a wrong, but it's always about whether you've got the experience or whether you feel you have the specified knowledge to do it at that moment in time. I don't know if any of the panel, maybe Iram, if you want to add something on that. Iram? No. Radio silence. Chris?
Yeah, I'd say there's no right and no wrong answer on that one, purely because if you feel you're ready to go it alone, great, do it. I did it. I've made a success of what I do. But also, there's no harm in reaching out to local companies and shadowing their surveyors. You don't necessarily have to work for them directly. You can shadow their surveyor 1 or 2 days a week, run your own business 3 days a week until you're at a point where you can spread your wings and go it on your own. Yeah. So the options for you in that position are fantastic at the moment.
Katie, going alone or going through a major business? Let's see if we can get lucky with you, Katie.
No. Why?
Yeah, let's hope you can hear me. Is that any better?
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay. Yeah, on this, obviously, each individual is everybody. That's the key thing with careers. It's about where you've got to. My actual genuine response to that was, depending on your CV and your experience so far, I would suggest it might be useful to actually work for somebody else if you're making a move abroad, or if you're if you're going into a brand new environment. My suggestion would be, don't go it alone. Actually, even though you might feel ready, what's the harm in gaining some experience with somebody else, and then maybe I'd wait to go alone. But everybody's different, and every single situation varies. I think if you're going into a new market, and it's something slightly new for you, my genuine response to that would be to actually try and align yourself with a company.
Great, thanks, Katie. Iram, any views?
Hi, can you hear me now? Great. Again, no right or wrongs really, so I think it's just important to weigh up the pros and cons of either option and then just make a decision based on that. But think about it rationally, think about your facts, figures, what the overall objective is, and then kind of try and base your decision around that.
Great. Next question from Phil. Thanks for joining, Phil. I'm currently doing a diploma in residential surveying and valuation with Sava, due to qualify as ASKROBCO next year. Live in Newcastle. From what I've seen so far, job opportunities are slim for surveyors. Is it worth considering relocating to another area in search of jobs, or is it detrimental due to the fact that I have no local knowledge? I really am on the fence on this, on what to do. Okay, so I think that's a really good one for Chris and Katie. What are your views there, Chris?
Honestly, I would advise you to find work in your local area. Based on the fact that lenders require you to have local knowledge when valuing, you will need to work within a 20-25 mile radius of your home address if carrying out valuations on residential property. There's no harm in relocating, but one thing that will hinder you is that local property knowledge. So my advice, look at companies in the local area, shadow surveyors at companies, work experience, set up on your own in partnership with someone else, explore every avenue in your local area.
Great.
And then my advice on that would be, depending on where you are, obviously it sounds like you're graduating. I say you're in a great position because you've got everything ahead of you. So my suggestion would be actually that you can be quite flexible on that. Feel value to what Chris is saying, but equally, if you are just starting out, then actually I think you've got the ability, and that's where people really excel in these periods of time, is to be flexible and to actually look at various locations. So I would suggest that actually if you're just starting out, that you can learn quickly, and I think that if you could be open-minded to where the opportunities are, so you don't feel that you're limited. In fact, it's the opposite. If you're just starting out and if you've just graduated, that I think you're in a great position to actually be quite broad in your approach.
Brilliant. Next question, Jess, our returning Jess. Thank you for your loyalty. Question for Jess, for the panel. As a student who will be looking at graduate schemes, should we be putting on our CVs networking events, webinars such as this that we have taken part in to stand out? If so, what is the best way to do this? Okay, just to to put a bit of context on this, and I'll say it from an MD of a practice perspective, and then Iram, Katie, and Chris can give their views. Jess asked some excellent questions on previous webinars. She then wrote to me and reached out with more questions. She then had a call with me and asked me more questions about her journey, and looked and sought advice so that she has the best understanding and the best options to develop her career the way that she wants to. And any of you listening out there, as someone who's running a business that does 100 interviews a year, when someone reaches out and pushes and pushes and asks and pushes and asks, the fact that they've been so proactive and the fact that they've taken the effort to reach out to you and ask for guidance and help and support shows that there's something innate or something within that human being, an individual, that's quite special. Why is that? Because if we've now done 8 of these shows and 1,500 plus people have registered for the shows, and only half a dozen people have made the effort that Jess has made, it says that she's doing something that everyone else isn't doing. And why is that? It's because she wants to develop her career and be a success and stand out. So please, everyone, think about, you're asking the questions, how to stand out, how to promote myself, how to get ahead. You've got to match your words and inspiration and intention with actions. Actions are, Rob, can you help me? Email, message, call, here's my CV, asking the question here. If you're listening and you've got all of these questions going on in your head and you're not reaching out and asking the question, if you don't ask questions in life, if you don't put yourself out there, unfortunately, you're not going to get anywhere in life. And if you can't make that step, you need to work out how you're going to do it, because hiding in life and hiding behind situations isn't going to get you exposure, and it's not going to get you interviews, it's not going to get you jobs, and it's not going to allow you to progress. You've got to break through that barrier somehow. Iram.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think by putting things like that on your CV, and again, it comes back down to relevance as well. I mean, if you're attending several sorts of things, sometimes it's impractical listing everything, but I think it definitely shows employers and recruiters your willingness, that you're proactive, that you're making a lot of effort. So things that are related to the role in the industry, and you're trying to get into it, I think, you know, there should definitely be mention of that. And like I said, it impresses employers as well. So I would say, you know, certainly put things on there, but again, have a think about, you know, how much information you are putting on your CV, and make it very, very relevant. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Chris.
A lot of it is to do with relating your life skills and your industry skills, and making sure that they are on your CV and they stand out on your CV, because a hiring manager wants certain personality traits, skill traits, and person specification fit. If you can bullet point your strengths so they stand out on your CV, you stand a better chance of being that 1 in 100 that stands out from the crowd. Try and steer clear of long paragraphs of experience in this, experience in that. Hiring managers, believe it or not, tend to skim read to look for the key buzzwords that are matched to their role. So life skills, industry skills, knowledge, anything you can bring to the table, make it stand out on your profile.
Katie.
Yeah, I mean, there's two separate questions here, I think, slightly. So I think with the CV situation, I would always opt for quality, basically. I believe that everyone that's logged onto these webinars and everybody that's going the extra mile during this time probably has something about them. There's something in them that's saying, right, I need to start getting more engaged. I need to understand what's going on out there a bit more. And that will certainly come across. I think your CV genuinely it's an opportunity for an employer to look at what you have experienced. So I think it's quality over quantity. I think it's really important with the CV that I actually wanted to touch on earlier when I couldn't speak, that you know, the CV is a chance for you to actually express yourself on paper, and someone's going to look at that and they're going to make up their mind whether they want to have a chat with you or not. So I think skill set is really important to get into your CV, and your experience and length of experiences. So it is still important, and people sometimes say it isn't, but I think even, you know, if you're hoppy, that doesn't always look good on paper. So try and use that piece of paper to express what you are, what you've been up to, with loyalty being quite a key thing, especially in difficult markets. People will look to people who can commit and get through the tough times. So I think, you know, long stints at companies can be quite beneficial. And just going back to well, Rob's point, really, what we're doing right now and all of the extracurricular activities you do will naturally enhance you anyway. So they will really be beneficial, I think, when you come to have those conversations. They don't necessarily need to be listed on your CV. I think the CV is supposed to be powerful and short and high quality. So that's my opinion on that. And just a little bit extra is to say, in line with what Rob was saying, is yes, don't be shy. Because you can, and I think this is particularly relevant for younger generations of people graduating and maybe, you know, in the early stages of their career. Don't waste the first 3 years of your career, which is when you graduate, hiding behind hierarchy or wondering whether, you know, should I speak to that person? Do they have time for me? Because the wonderful thing about the crisis that we're all in at the moment, is it's something we have in common. And I think what it does for a lot of people, a lot of younger generations, is actually break down the barriers. And what you can end up in is we're all in the same situation. So actually, you picking up the phone, you know, Rob's just said, you know, I think it was Jess that you mentioned, who's a regular attendee of the call. But the fact that this call has allowed that is a good example of what a crisis can do. And I think it does break down the barrier. We're in a shared situation. And so use the time now, like you are doing, to connect with people, pick up the phone, have conversations. I mean, in my line of work and in Chris's and in Amran's, we are on the phone all the time, and we are speaking to people every day, you know, hundreds of people all the time, and actually you learn so much. So use your phone, use your LinkedIn, use your CV as your platform, but just speak to people and connect, and you will find that you build a network, and actually you start to realize that there's so much you can achieve by just not being shy and by being bold.
Brilliant advice. Thanks, Katie. We've got Diva, who's kind of like, for those of you that listen every week, it's like my sidekick. She just brilliantly adds great advice. So Diva's saying, the more you dig, the more you get. It's like the gold mine. And that, that all comes back to patience and perseverance, and never give up, and never give up, and never give up, and never give up, and keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah, Diva, just tremendous words of wisdom. The whole gold mine is that you keep going and going and going, and one day you'll find that golden nugget. So I definitely buy into that. All right, next question. Keep them coming through. We've still got loads to get through. We're going to try our best to get through them. Anything that we don't answer today, I will answer all of them individually afterwards. All right, so we are going to go to, where are we going here? Let's go to Thadeen. I hope I said your name right. Lovely name. Good morning. I am a RICS recently qualified. Congratulations. Very, very special moment in our lives when it happens. With skill set, commercial real estate, valuation. I have a Bachelor of Science. My love is landlord and tenant. Good for you. Most people hate it, so that puts you in a special place. Got is a law degree necessary in the aspect, and if so, how does one transition into law from this point? Absolutely not. If you love landlord and tenant, Nadine, then go and get a job in landlord and tenant. And whether you have the experience and knowledge or not, go into a company that's going to give you the opportunity to learn and become a specialist, because anyone that shares and says that's what they love, it goes back to the vibe of the day. If you love doing that and you did that for the next 20, 30, 50 years of your life, and you continuously love it, life's going to be great for you. Your journey's going to be great. You'll be doing something meaningful and purposeful because it relates to you and aligns to you. And ultimately, everything is about happiness, and to be happy, you've got to do something with purpose and meaning that you love. And the fact that you're the only person out of all of the questions that we've got coming through that's clearly defined, that's what you love, then that's what you should be doing. And if you do something that's not your love, I would have to question why you're doing it. And if your love doesn't work out, then you might have to find another love for whatever reason. But if you have it so clear, Thadeen, you've got to go out and make that happen, and don't deviate away from that until something really says to you that it's not going to happen. So you really got to go for it. I don't know if anyone at the panel want to add anything on that one. Nothing on the panel on that? No. All right, next question. Emily, I'm doing a complete career change, going back to school full-time, quantity surveying. What type of part-time opportunities are available, if any, for students looking to become more familiar with the industry and start to network? I want to ensure and set myself up for success when I graduate. Okay, I think that's a great one for Iram.
Yeah, so perfect opportunity to reach out to employers, maybe contact them, making speculative applications. So putting your CV together, putting an email together, doing some research on the different companies, and just kind of sending out and asking for work experience, asking for work shadowing opportunities, or even part-time employment. It might be that you might have to start off with looking for that work shadowing and work internship opportunity, and then hopefully build into a bit of work experience just to kind of get your foot through the door. But certainly, yeah, start off by kind of reaching out to employers and using LinkedIn, as we said before, reaching out to some companies and professionals, arranging calls with them, and then possibly that could lead through to some work or some work opportunities. So yeah, that's what I would kind of suggest at the moment.
Great. Katie, Chris, anything on that one?
I echo everything that was said there. I mean, one thing I would add is in the world of a QS, it's looking at where you want to specialise, whether it's residential, commercial, mixed use, finding the right company. Again, the ideal company, that opportunity might not be there now. It's the ladder to get there. It's getting the experience under your belt.
Brilliant. All right, got a question from Natalia. Welcome, Natalia. Chris has mentioned at the beginning that companies look for skill sets. What are those skill sets in the industry, and how do companies assess whether the applicant possesses them? Chris, that's one for you.
Skill set is not necessarily raw skills. Can you do the job? You've got the personality traits, your willingness to learn and adapt. If you're an entry-level candidate and you have a 3 to 5 year goal to become a fully fledged chartered surveyor, you need to look at the stepping stones and how you apply yourself and all the skills that you have. So it's about self-development. The biggest trait that employers are looking for is a willingness to push yourself, to potentially go out of your comfort zone. Everything is not there on a plate for you. You need to work for it. So having the right mentality, the positive mental attitude, the skill set, the personality traits, the expertise that you will get from colleagues and peers will set you on the path of where you need to be going.
Brilliant. Katie?
I would break down slightly. So I say that I tend to look at things, as do clients, on both a skill set and abilities. And it's very much what Chris was saying, but just breaking it down a bit. So skill set, I would say, is can they actually physically do the job? You know, did they study it, or have they by experience learnt it, but can they prove, or does their experience to date mean that they can actually do the job? And I'd look at abilities more by further experience and, you know, circumstances that has enabled them to just have certain traits, you know, pain thresholds, basically, you know, empathy, abilities to get through certain situations. Loyalty, again, is another, what I would class an ability rather than a skill set. But yeah, the well-rounded individual needs a ton of both. So I'd break it down like that.
Brilliant. Are you all good for another 5 minutes just to get through the last questions?
Yep.
Because too many good ones coming through. Okay, so we've got about 6 questions that are all more or less the same. I'm going to give the credit to Nabisha. Oh no, sorry, Nabiha, do apologize. Please could you give advice on how to write a good CV if you have no previous experience? And about 6 or 7 of your questions have come through in relation to that. So Mehul, welcome back, has also asked that question. Can we get some help here? And there's another one from, another question from Nabiha, the same question as before. Is there a company we can contact to help us write a CV? How do we write a covering letter? It's another one, Jess asked that as well. Reoccurring question from at least 10 people here. Covering letter, CV, who do we turn to? How do we write it? Let's start with Iram on that.
Okay, so plenty of resources actually for CVs, application forms, letters, everything. So depending firstly on whether you're a student or a graduate currently, or even, for example, at Westminster, if you've graduated in the last 3 years, you can still access the careers service. So first of all, approach your careers service and see whether you can book an appointment with a careers consultant. yeah, I see students all the time in terms of CVs, application support, interview, everything, even as down to sort of like emails and how to approach people. What should I write in my email? What should I write in my speculative application? So firstly, have a look if you can get that support directly through your career service. If you can't, then there are so many resources online. A couple of the websites that I wanted to mention specifically for graduates and students are actually prospects.ac.uk and Target Jobs. So both of those have sector information, but they have very detailed cover letter, application, CV templates on everything that you would need to sort of write your CV and put that together. So I would suggest having a look at those. I know that there are lots of companies out there as well that charge a lot of money for CVs. So you know, I'd say there's a lot of free advice out there. So try and make the most of that first, and then kind of go from there.
Great, Katie. No noise, Katie. Let's go to Chris and we'll come back to Katie. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong way of writing a CV.
So I think in terms of what, firstly, I don't believe that you can't write a CV because you will all have experience. Oh, well, I don't, I don't know what's gone on there then.
Chris again.
Yeah, like I was saying, applying a bit of structure to your CV is pretty critical. Your opening statement needs to be specific, punchy, straight to the point, highlighting your strengths. Straight underneath that for me is the qualifications and how they're relevant to the role. CV wise, I'd always say bullet point. Each job you've had, bullet point, key skills, criteria. When it comes to writing the covering letter, for me, it's thinking outside the box, because if everyone wrote the same letter to each hiring manager, you need to be different from everyone else. So whether that's a digital letter, a colourful letter, you name it, think outside the box of why you are the best person for the role.
Great, let's try again with Katie. Let's see if we're gonna have any joy.
Okay, fingers crossed. It does say, okay, good. Yeah, so what I wanted to say really quickly was, I don't believe any of the people that said they don't have any experience don't have any experience. So whether you're starting out or whatever it is you've been up to, I would hate to think that you can't write a CV, even if it's the fundamentals for a CV are your education. So if that's non-existent, then fine, but I would like to think you've been doing something in that time. But the fundamentals are your education and qualifications. So hopefully there's something, and then of course your work experience. So you might find that whatever stage of the career you're at, okay, fine, you might not have gone and built you know, 3 hotels, but you might have worked alongside somebody who has. You might have attended event where you met certain people. It's difficult at the beginning of your career to start to build one, but I would like to think that you've got a CV you can put together, really. And yeah, back to just Chris's point, I think less is more always. Unfortunately, people don't have loads of time, and when they're recruiting for a role, they do need to look at, I mean, it varies for different careers and pathways, but if you're, for example, applying for a project management role and the scheme is worth 140 million, they are going to look, and it's a block of flats, they're going to look at your CV and want to know that you can deal with that value and you have worked on that sector. So it's really important just to make your CV concise. Going back to Chris's point, I think an opening paragraph is a must. Someone should be able to pick up your CV, and if they can't read the whole thing, read that paragraph and know what you're about. So that's crucial. And then I think as possible, bullet points always. But I don't believe that anyone, even if they haven't had a job yet, can't write a CV, because they will have had experiences, and that's what a CV is all about.
Can I just add a
Brilliant.
couple of things very quickly there, Rob? I see a lot of students and they tend to dismiss part-time jobs. Oh, I'm working at Tesco, I'm working in a bar or whatever. Oh, but that's not relevant to the industry, and then they don't put it on. So just want to make sure if anyone is thinking that, then that's the wrong thinking. You need to put it on your CV and make sure you highlight those transferable skills: team working, customer service, communication, working under pressure, all of those types of things that sometimes people forget. And also, for those of you that haven't actually got any work experience, I do see students that haven't done anything as well, which is not a great thing. But think about the skills that you've developed from university, from your working and collaborating with people in groups, delivering presentations, doing your written communication, your assignments, etc. There are skills you've developed from university or your courses. So there is always something, and student societies and other things that you've participated in. So there are things, you just need to kind of make sure you evaluate and put those on your CV. And the other thing I was going to say about CV, there's different ways. You know, you could do a skills CV. If you haven't got the work experience, you can actually put headings of those skills: teamwork, communication, etc., and give some examples under that as another thing. I don't want to take up any more time.
No, that's great. So I'm going to do the last question and then everyone can do a wrap up. Thank you, Penny, for all of your great points. Always great reading what you have to say, always very positive. What was the question we're going to close out with? Everyone that hasn't been answered, you will get answered. Everyone that's asked for the contact details of the panel, you'll get all of that information. The last question is from Liam. How important is it to use a recruiter compared to applying for jobs on your own? Okay, everyone listening to me here, this is really, really important. When you have a question like that, the answer always is both. And the reason why the answer is always both is because unless you give yourself every opportunity with every scenario that you have, you never know which way it's going to go. So if you say to me, I want to get a job, should I contact you directly or should I go through a recruiter? Both is the answer, because maybe the recruiter will do a better job and get you through the door, or maybe you did such a good job and you'll get through the door directly. No one knows, but you've got a better chance if you went down both routes than doing none of them or one of them. And that is the same with many questions in life. All of you asking questions, should I do this or should I do that? Should I go down there or should I go down there? Many of those questions, you can actually do both. Both is always a really good answer. It's never one or the other, it's both. And then you'll work out which one works for you. So that's a generic response. It's not always just one or the other. Both is a great answer. Chris.
Oh, definitely. Like you just said there, relationships between recruiter and client. I mean, you and I are an example of that. But the perfect candidate could knock on your office door and say, here's my CV. So you got to look at both avenues. If you've got ambition and you've got a client target list, go and find the right contact within those clients. If you're struggling, then look at the recruiters and see if they have the relationships with those clients, because if you don't, someone else will.
And Chris, close out positive message from you.
The industry is getting back on its feet. There's plenty of opportunities out there. I mean, I've just been actually accepting LinkedIn invitations from people on this webinar now. I'm really happy to see all of the SAVA candidates on here, and people, the questions you've asked us have been fantastic, very thought-provoking. My business is niche to residential and commercial surveying, especially around the valuation sector. So if I can help anyone, please connect with me on LinkedIn. If you need help with your CV, covering letter, you want to have an off-the-record conversation, I'm happy to discuss anything. It's been great today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. Katie.
Yeah, just going back to your original point, I would just say that it's all about being resourceful and just like Ross, I was actually having this conversation personally this morning. I just don't think there's, I don't know if anyone's ever had the advice, oh, don't spread yourself too thin. But I personally think in a market that gets interesting, there's no such thing. I think you really have to throw everything at it. And I think in terms of what options are available to you. It's all about being resourceful and making the most of all the options available to you. And then in terms of a closing message, you know, just mirroring really what Chris has said and what everyone has said on the call, but hopefully us all getting together today has given you an idea of the positivity that is out there, that you can turn situations on their head, and actually the people that are the most flexible, resourceful, and just positive really at the moment come out of this better
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. Iram.
off.
Yeah, thank you. So one of the things I said at the start really is just for students and graduates to think about the types of things they could be doing right now. So I mentioned before about these free online courses for skills development. There's so many universities, the MOOCs.
And so just keep
sorry, I think there's a bit of interest. I'll try and so yeah, lots of different free courses, virtual work internship programs. Inside Sherpa is offering lots of different work experience programs. If you're at university, you probably are signed up to LinkedIn Learning, so you can get lots of free courses. Project management, there's like 15,000 courses I think on LinkedIn. There is so much out there that you could be doing right now. Those of you that don't have experience volunteering, look at doit.org, get involved with local charities, or that will help you build your skills and develop things. There's a lot of things you could be doing right now. Like I said, signing up to podcasts, webinars, keeping abreast of industry development, professional associations and organizations, RICS, RTPI, etc. Have a look at their free career pages. Just kind of get as much information as you can, equip yourself with that knowledge. And those are the things that then come out to recruiters and employers, and that's what they appreciate and value, that you've been proactive, and you've been resilient, you've been doing things. 6 months down the line, they're going to ask you, what have you been doing in this time? So if you can say, yeah, I enrolled on this, I participated in this, I went and volunteered, I kind of attended these webinars, that is what makes you stand out, rather than just sort of sitting idle and just kind of feeling sorry or thinking, oh, there's no jobs. That there's a lot that you could do to really sort of help your own cause. So that's what I would say. I'm happy to connect with people and provide whatever help and advice that I can. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much to everyone that joined, the hundreds of you that registered. Thank you to such an amazing panel. Really do reach out to these individuals, Iram, Katie and Chris. They are going to change your lives for you in a positive way. Question of the week, who's winning that? Congratulations, Thadeen. You are winning the one-on-one 1 hour session with me. Message me and give me your details and we'll get that arranged. Thank you for everyone joining. Thank you all the people from Sava. Thank you for all the people from Westminster. Thank you for all the MD group people, MJ group people. Thank you for all the people from Macdonold and Company. Hashtag AskRobCo every Friday, 1 p.m. We are here for you to answer your questions, to give some positivity, to give you an opportunity, hopefully to make the best and most meaningful and purposeful things with your lives and your career. And we are here to motivate, educate, and inspire. Keep returning, keep asking the questions. Have an amazing, happy, safe weekend, and I will see you all next week. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Thanks, panel.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.